Can we talk about Tether itself and the backing of Tether? So ever since I have been in crypto, Paulo, there has been some question as to like, what are the assets that back a USDT, and are they really there? We can address maybe kind of the FUD and why Tether seems to be a lightning rod for that a little bit later in the episode. But I want to hear from you directly. So when someone were to split apart a dollar of USDT, what do they find inside of it? Like, what is backing it? I think you have this page on the Tether website. It's a transparency page, and it shows both the current balance of how much USDT is issued right now on top of blockchains. And right now, yeah, you were right. You mentioned the number 97 billion or so, almost 98 billion. And you've got this other tab called Reports and Reserves, which are independent auditor reports from an auditor called BDO. Okay, I don't know all of the auditors in this type of a field. Maybe you can kind of explore it, but it has a reserves breakdown, and there are a few different categories of assets that are the reserves, the backing for USDT. 84%, according to this, cash and cash equivalents. A tiny amount, 0.05 corporate bonds. Then you got some precious metals, 3.6% precious metals, 2.9% bitcoins, other investments, 3.8%, and then secured loans, 4.9%. That, according to this report, is what backs a USDT and all of the $98 billion worth of USDT. First of all, can you just broad strokes tell us about kind of the backing of Tether? How do we know that these assets are actually backing Tether? What is the auditing process? And then maybe we'll go through this in a couple of the main categories here. But first, the backing itself.
Sure. So stablecoins historically never had too much luck in having a full audit. So the industry standard at the moment is called attestation. So that is what we have with Tether done by BDO. So if you look, although if you look at our attestation, you can see that the auditor, so BDO, went through enormous efforts, not just to take our word on the existence of this of the numbers that are of the assets that are back in Tether, but also they went through independent contacts to the different custodians in order to confirm these numbers. So that is, I think, one of the most important points, right? So yes, you're right. Tether throughout the history had been considered the black sheep of in the industry. But it's think about 2020. Imagine a room full of people, okay, and the people in this room are all the greatest names of our industry. And, you can imagine in that room, all the people, were looking at each other and then looking at us and, whispering, oh, yeah, those guys are the black sheep. Those guys they are going down. And then you fast forward 4 years in that room, you don't hear whispering because basically there is only us. All the greatest of the industry, apart maybe a couple, went bust in 2022 and 2023. All those people were the ones that accused Tether to do the exact things that they were doing. And those things destroyed them, right? They were lending, based on pinky promises and so on. So yes, sure. I mean, I agree with you. Our biggest mistake, I think, was being naive. And we thought that keeping your head down without caring too much about the noise around yourself, would be enough to succeed, right? So you think, okay, I'm doing everything right, and I keep my head down at work, and if people criticize me, eventually they will see that I'm good. And that was definitely naive. And as I told you, we didn't have a communication team before like 2022. So we learned from that specific mistake, and we learned that transparency is really important. And today, as a matter, you have read some of the percentages on the transparency page. there is one important factor that I think is has to be underlined. So the numbers that you described are based on the 31st of December 2023. That is the latest attestation. At the 31st December 2023, we had $5.2 billion more than our total outstanding tokens. So it means that, it's now publicly reported that Tether made basically $6 billion in profits last year. And we kept the vast majority of these profits within the stablecoin reserves so that we could over-collateralize the stablecoin to make it much more resilient than anything ever seen in the financial industry. Right? Banks go leveraged on their balance sheet. You look at what happened with Silicon Valley Bank that almost killed our main competitor. Silvergate, Signature. These banks were investing in 10-year, 20 years municipality bonds, right? So right now, if you look at our reserves, 90% of the issued tokens are covered by cash and cash equivalent. Yes, we have gold and we have Bitcoin and we have other assets, and altogether are making 105% of the total issued tokens. And the secure loans are well over collateralized by 200% on average. And gold has an average buying price that is fairly low compared to the current market. Same goes with Bitcoin. And Tether is on track for making around, with this size of T-bills, is making around $1 billion per quarter. So you can imagine that by the end of the year, if nothing changed much, we could be around, other 5 to 6 billions in excess equity if we want to keep everything in the excess equity. But, our objective is to go to 100% in T-bills anyway. But now we are almost 105% over collateralized. So that's the story that I want to tell today. Is a story of a company that grew from nothing and made an epochal change to the financial industry.
To continue leveling up your crypto game, then you need to get on the Bankless newsletter. It's the world's most popular crypto email and is completely free. Just click below to sign up.